Hi folks, I hope you're well. So, this video, full of fear. That's what is just on my mind, full of fear. That these people are full of fear. You don't ban people. If someone causes commotion in the church, if you are full of faith instead of fear, you will see that maybe God has a purpose for these people. That something's happened, okay. People have got stressed, okay. But there might be a purpose for this, that maybe God is doing something. When you're full of fear, all you notice is that people are upset. And they might blame you. If you are the pastor or you are part of the leadership, you think they might blame you. So therefore you ban the person. That's action about protecting the people in church out of fear. That's all it is. When you ban people, so yeah, again, I was banned from the soul food because people complained that I was talking about God. And so why was I banned? Because Paul, who runs it, is full of fear. He's not full of faith in any way, shape or form. He's full of fear. He's a man completely of this world. That's why he named it soul food. Because as a person with brown skin, he thinks that, okay, in America, they've got this thing called soul food in the brown skin community, so you call it soul food. Right? Partly because he's brown and partly because he's full of soul. Everything about him is soul, it's not spirit. Nothing's God, it's all about feelings and all about all this crap. So therefore when people complain, what does he do? He bans because he's full of fear. He knows if people start complaining that this thing is just about people speaking God to them and people won't come, suddenly soul food is closed down. So fear is why he bans people. It's not faith. It's not faith in God. If you have faith in God, you know you're not supposed to ban people because you know. Your job is to help that person. Your job is to bless that person and help send that person to God. If that person is so troubled that they're causing problems in church, your job is to send them to God. Not kill them. Direct them to God. So that they can be, so God can help them. So God can help to deal with the things in them that are a problem, that are causing them such distress, that makes them cause that commotion. But when you're full of fear, you don't think of any of that. Yeah, Manuel, again, supposed to be the pastor of the church, was showing delight that a woman who had causing problems in church had left. Delight that this woman was now possibly without a church, without support. Yeah, it's demonic. It's fear. Fear is faith. Faith that something bad will happen. But fear is still a version of faith, isn't it, really? But it's faith in bad, in negative, in hurtful stuff. You have faith in these things to happen. And people's faith in that stuff is far stronger than their faith in God. That's why they do this. That's why I can look in the face of Rick Harris. I can look in the face of the people in charge of the River Church, the people in charge of Oasis Church, and I can tell them straight away, you're not a pastor, you're not a teacher. You shouldn't be anywhere near this. God has not appointed you to leadership in this church. And I can speak to leaders and say, God has not appointed you. I know that. I know that. It's obvious. God has not appointed you. Because they walk according to fear, not faith. As I say, this whole point of, keeping worldly music out, that's fear. It's not faith. You're not doing it because you're honouring God. You're doing it because you're in fear. If I'm honouring God, I say to God, okay, bring whatever you want to bring. I will see you in whatever it is. So bring whatever you're going to bring. If you want to bring, Rick Astley, if you want to bring whatever, whoever, Pet Shop Boys or Queen or Bronski Beat or whoever you want to bring, Culture Club, Nicki Minaj, if you want to bring any of that stuff, then okay, I'm going to see if I can find you in that. That's faith. That's faith, seeing God in all these things. I say the insanity of saying we'll kick out stuff because there's bad in it. That is so incredibly stupid. And yeah, again, I'm not having a go at the pastor with regards to that, because I know a lot of people that went or tried to go that way and tried to encourage others. And when they were trying to encourage others, from their point of view, they were thinking they were doing a good thing. They were thinking they were doing a good thing. But they weren't. So how do I know that Rick Harris is not of God? And how do I know that that is linked to him not being of God? Because he would still back now that his decision to not have worldly music was right. Right? Yeah, okay. No, as I say, yeah. Fear is a big thing. It's a big thing. The last video, or the one before, I spoke about fear. I spoke about my fear, the fear I had of losing my family. And the fear I've had of losing my relationship with God. Which is partly why God wanted me to believe that he was wanting me to think that a married woman was supposed to be my wife. Because then I would go back to him and say, what the heck was that all about? And suddenly that reality of me possibly losing my relationship with God would be there. Yeah, it was about not trusting God. Well, of course, if I'm trusting God, that what I'm understanding, that this Kylie Bevan is supposed to be my wife and she ends up being a married woman, yeah. As I said, go and listen to that video, 24th of October 2022. Or 2021. Yeah. You can hear the pain in me at that time. You can hear the struggle that I'm going through at that time. And yeah, that video's got some swearing in it because, yeah. And I left it there. And I left it there because it's real. Because, you know, you can almost hear the fear. And the way it ends is so incredibly beautiful. And none of that was planned. It was raw. You can hear it. It's very raw. But it ended so beautifully. And that was incredible, really. Where fear returns to faith. But that's the point. I care about the people in the church. But I care about the people in the church that I can help. I care about the people in church who want more, who want God. Those people that are happy with how it is, those people that are keeping it how it is, I don't care about them. I don't really care about the likes of Rick Harris because I look at him and I say, come on. Do I think that he truly believes that he's doing a good job? No, he can't. He can't believe. When he was speaking to me on Thursday, when he spoke about banning people and I corrected him upon that, he couldn't argue with what I was saying because he knew what I was saying was right. He knew that what he was saying was wrong. Right? He knows that when Kylie Bevan asked him to stop me going, he knows absolutely that he should have referred her to the Word of God. He knows that. He knows that he's not a teacher. He knows he's not a pastor. He knows that he's some sort of charlatan. He knows that. Yeah. And yet he's still here. To me, that's ridiculous. How are you still here? Look, I wish him well. And if there's any possibility he can turn his life around and get right with God, fantastic. I will help him to do that if I can. Do I think I can? No. Do I think he will? No. Not in any way, shape or form. No. I don't think that's possible. I've seen the way he defends his choices and the way he does things. There's no truth, there's no logic, there's no wisdom in him. So, do I think he'll turn it around? No, because you need some of those things to turn it around. I hope I'm wrong. I do, I hope I'm wrong. And I hope I'm wrong about those people that I don't really care about in church. I hope I'm wrong about them as well. But do I think I am? No. I know pretty much that the woman who does the Tuesday night meetings, or did, at the River Church, I know that when she dies she's going to go to hell, and I'm sorry that that's the case. I don't think that's good. I'm really sorry that that's the case. I'm sorry that she didn't have better teaching. I'm sorry that she had pastors like Jeff Oakes and then the waste of space that's there now. But reality is, she chose to stay there. She chose to stay in that church. All the while the teaching was atrocious, she chose to stay in there. Again, a lot of people stay in it because it's community. If you stay in church because it's community, then you're choosing church for something other than what you should be choosing church for. Again, that's where I disagreed so much with, forgotten what his name is now. The one who I've spoken about, who does the mega preaching, who was a pastor, then got broken by God, and then said some useful things, and then, yeah. Chris Blackaby, that's it. Don't even know why I mentioned him, but yeah. Sorry, my mind just went for a second. But no. Yeah, choosing paths. Oh no, yeah, when Chris Blackaby says that, some people choose churches for different reasons and that's all good. It is not. He's lying when he says that. That's not true. That's a lie. He's telling lies when he says that. There's only one good purpose for choosing church, and that's because that church is bringing God to you. Yeah, okay. There are different ways. If you're someone who receives God through worship, you might choose a church because the worship is phenomenal. If you're someone who sees God more in prayer, then a church that prays more will be more right for you. I get that. But, yeah. So there is a tiny bit of truth there. Because, of course, it is about receiving God. And if the start of a church helps you to receive God better, great. But if you're in a church that you're not receiving God, leave. If you're staying there because of community, then no. No. You can be a community too in hell. Why the bloody hell would anyone want that? Why would anyone risk that? No, as I say, to me, that lady, if she does go to hell, she's going to be reminded all the time. Her own words, that God appointed her the person who should be in charge of that Tuesday night meeting. That God chose her. In hell, she's going to be reminded of that. And that is horrendous. That is torment. And horrible torment. And I just wish that church wasn't the way it is, but the reality is, it is the way it is. And, yeah. An awful lot of people that go to church are going to be in hell, and it's going to be horrendous. Their torture is going to be absolutely horrendous. Yeah. The man in the church, River Church, who said that when he asked Jeff Oakes to be his spiritual father, he's the same man that I asked the question to at the end of their worship conference. Why are you making it all about Jesus? Why are you singing the song saying it's all about you, Jesus, and we put our trust alone in you, Jesus? One song saying one thing, one song saying another. Why are you doing that? When he said you pray to the Father, you worship the Father is a vine dresser. And you're making it all. When he goes to hell, he's going to hear that. He's going to realise that he had the option to turn around, to change things, to do things differently, and he chose not to. He chose to keep in what was comfortable. And now he's going to have the extremely uncomfortable for eternity. And that's horrific. Nothing good about that in any way, shape or form. I hope they have time to change.